Hi guys, tomorrow is December the 13th, Thursday, December the 13th, and I am going to be looking out for two things potentially happening. Either a missile launch, which I'm getting from here, or confirmation of the PP rumors from the Steele Dossier regarding Donald Trump, which I'm also getting from here. Reasons because they've drawn this to look like a missile and and a penis urinating, and obviously in the news there's not much stories about urination apart from the one which comes to mind, which is from the Steele Dossier. And it may be that tomorrow that's confirmed, or at least Donald Trump is accused of that. By who? I think Maria Butina, the Russian spy that has been apprehended and has decided to plead guilty, and tomorrow will be in court with her guilty plea. And no one knows what she's going to say as part of that, but I'm just putting it out there that she may say something in relation to those rumors. Um, why do I say December 13th? Well, obviously you've got the 3 here, and it's possible that this whole thing with the line across represents the letter D, which is December, and then the one little mark that you got in here is the number 1, December 13th. The other way of looking at it is to take this part here and this part here upside down, that's the letter T. Then you're left with this line down here and the number 3 again, which could be T13, which could be Thursday 13th, which is tomorrow. So again, looking out for a possible missile launch or something to do with those rumors, and Maria Butina, we'll see. After that, I think, well, before I move on, one of the reasons another reason why I think it may have connections with Russia is because of something I pointed out a long time ago, which is the spectral imagery on the chalkboard in this IPEC Goat 2 video, hidden behind the shark and the hangman and the things that we can clearly see, like the missile, for example, are other images, like demon faces, twin demon faces, one over here, one over here. They're drawn exactly the same. What looks like a Pinocchio mask just here. You've got the long nose. This is obviously half a face. It's like a mask's face, so half the face there, Pinocchio nose. You've got the mouth there, down to the chin. Again, Pinocchio just recently has been connected with Donald Trump. The Washington Post saying his embellished words were Pinocchio lies. That's not exactly how they said it, but that's the way that I'm going to interpret it. Again, you seem to have like a man kind of sitting in like a sitting position here. You've got the head here, the body down to the legs. In the background here, there's a head which could either be a connection with the Statue of Liberty, the head of Statue of Liberty, or a recent thought could be Shiva, the destroyer. Either one seems significant. Even in the background here, hidden behind the shark, is what I'm thinking is the image of a gun, and that's to the back of this president's head, which is George Bush, but we also think represents Donald Trump. So I'm gonna point out where I think that may connect, because if something happens on the 13th, say in connection with the rumors and the Pinocchio lies, that all seem to be connected together. If he has been lying about that particular rumor, and it comes to light tomorrow by Maria Butina, who is a Russian, that he actually, or she accuses him of taking part in that, then it could be that shortly after something happens to Donald Trump. Again, I don't wish such things on people, but this is the interpretation that I'm getting, and I'm just trying to get it onto his eyebrow here, where you can see what I'm trying to point out. Sorry, one second. Should have prepared for this earlier. Where is that shot? There it is. Okay, so here, if something happened on the 13th, possibly 2 days later, that would be on the Saturday coming. We've got what looks like the number 5 here. Now, the number 5 can only connect with 2 dates left in the year, really, which is the 15th and the 25th. I'm not seeing a connection with the 25th in this eyebrow here. There are connections with the 25th in other places. But here, I'm seeing one mark that comes down, what looks like the number 5, and then what looks like an upside down L. And taken together, the L I'm just interpreting as the number 12. So 12, 1 and 5, December 15th. Possibly 2 days after, something happens. And over here on the other eyebrow, you can see what I'm thinking happens is what looks like Donald Trump. They've drawn the representation of his hair here. He's lying on his back. And yeah, that would appear to be in connection with something that has occurred earlier. And then after that is when we start moving into kind of Russia coming forward, and you know, the World War starting to really ramp up, because it appears from the shark here that you've got the number 23 encoded. So you've got the number 2 just here, this has been pointed out before, and the number 3 just here, going down the back and the back tail of the shark here. So number 3 and 2, that appears to be pointing to obviously the number 23, which, if it's happening this month, would be the 23rd, December 23rd. And then over here on the hangman, you've got XX and what could be a V if you're looking at the tongue as a bubble writing V. But if you're looking at it as like a singular line V, then you've got the V, and then in the middle you've got the I, which would be, I'm interpreting as IV, XX IV would be 24, and that would be Christmas Eve, which for me is significant because the first frame that you get when George Bush sits down and the screen lights up, which is occurring at this point, is you get the 2 letters over here, EV. Now obviously they could have easily made things smaller and included, you know, more of the letters if they wanted to, or included more of the screen, but this is what they wanted you to see as the first imagery when the screen illuminates. So you get to see the owl, which is connected with wisdom, and obviously we've gone into the history of that, Roman goddess Athena and Minerva, and you know, goddess of war and all that. All of that is in the owl. Then you've got the connections to the various different locations of other events that have taken place in the United States. You've got an emphasis on the largest of the snowflakes there, some connection with winter. Obviously you've got the George Bush character, which appears to represent Donald Trump at the same time, with the D on his hat, which could represent Donald Trump, which could represent Dunce, which could represent December. All of those things could, you know, combine and be true. And then you get to see the shark, which appears to have the number 23 encoded into it, the pound coin encoded into it, even the number 7 or the letter L. Obviously, if it's the letter L, then that would, you know, correspond with 12/23, December 23rd. And then you obviously got the missile penis example. You could again have the number 23 in there, or it could be the 13th, December 13th. We'll find out tomorrow if there's any relation with the 2 things that I'm looking out for. Then you come down here, you could have December the 25th, or you could have December the 24th. And obviously, as I said, the reason I think possibly December the 24th is because in this frame, the first 2 letters you see is EV. And if that's XXIV for 24, then that would be Christmas Eve. Obviously, they haven't given you last E, but as you pronounce that, that would be Eve or Ev, if you want to say it that way. But you get what I'm saying. So there appears to be a straight line of possible events there. Maybe something happening tomorrow. Maybe something happening on the 15th with Donald Trump. A couple of days later, the submarines, the events we've talked about. Obviously, during that time, that's the 23rd. When we skip over to the Apple scene, we obviously see a possible connection to the 21st here with the 2 seeds and the 1 seed. And then then we get the 23rd where we see this huge tsunami outside, and if that's connected with the submarines, obviously we think it is, then the shark on the board, which also represents the submarine, is also showing the number 23. So 23 in the submarines and 23 in the tsunami seem to be connected. Maybe 21 is connected with a volcanic event. We've possibly got the number 17 down here, which has a connection with the UK pound coin. Obviously, we've got a huge turmoil going on with Brexit at the moment. Theresa May, vote of no confidence, throwing the economy into crisis. We're on the 12th at the moment, so it's possible that, by the 17th, a huge chunk of the pound is, gone, or something else happens in relation with the pound or the UK. We'll be watching out. Obviously, if something happens to Donald Trump on the 15th, it's possible 2 days later something happens in the UK. We're not sure, but keep an eye out for it. Then if that happens on the 17th, 4 days later, we've got a connection to the 21st, 22nd, possibly with the V on Obama's forehead, 23rd with the submarines and the shark and the tsunami, and 24th appears to be, connected with death in terms of Christmas Eve. Other interpretations lead me up to the 31st. Obviously, things don't just end at that point. Other things would continue on after that. War would be going on. So we're seeing events taking place on the 31st, possibly in connection with the Korean Peninsula and the New Year. We'll see. Again, that could be connected with the Chinese New Year, which, if we're looking at the end of the year of the dog going into the year of the pig, that would go into February. So the events on the Korean Peninsula could actually take place in February sometime with the Chinese New Year. But as I say, there's many interpretations. January the 3rd, looking out for something happening with the House possibly, and the new democratic control that's they've got there. A lot of things to look out for. And it all starts with tomorrow on this extended timeline right up until the end of the year. And if I don't see anything like that happening, then I'm not going to be looking at February at all. Just put it out there because it's the Chinese New Year. And obviously, we've got 2 different New Years. Significant. You guys, thank you for taking the time to listen. Hope you followed everything I was saying. Sorry the video is kind of frozen there. But, I think you got pretty much everything I wanted to point out. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.